Hey, family of millionaires. Welcome back to Millionaire Success Story. Today, our special guest lives in Southern California. She is 32 years old and is a full time student. This is her second bachelor's degree. She also works as a social recreational therapist for intellectual adults. During her free time, she loves going to concerts and discovering new books. Please welcome Jessica. Jessica.
Hey,
Hi.
how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right.
We're going to start off by playing a game, and the game is called How to Get a Millionaire. And this game is to be a little bit nosy, ask personal questions, but nothing too crazy.
All
Um,
right.
and the questions vary from would you rather, this or that, who's the best, fill in the blank, and never have I ever. And every now and then I may ask you to elaborate. And yeah, which one would you like? Would you rather this or that, never have I ever, or who is the best fill in the blank?
I'm fine with any. Whichever one you like. Go ahead.
Let's do this or that.
Alrighty.
Okay, shoes or slippers?
Slippers.
Why?
I hate things on my feet.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Fruits or vegetables?
Fruit, because it's sweet.
Okay, summer or winter?
Summer, because my birthday.
Okay, do you like the cold?
I hate the cold.
Okay, me too.
Can't do it. Snow is
Salt or
not for me.
pepper?
Salt.
Salt. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet or salty? I think you already answered this. You said sweet.
Salt.
Oh, you go with salt. Okay,
I
so
go with salt. Yeah.
why?
I have a lot of sweet stuff. My mom is a pastry chef, so there's nothing but desserts at my house, and I would like regular food.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Um, board games or card games?
Board games.
Board games.
Uh, yeah, card games. My family's a little bit too competitive. Things get slapped
Mm,
on the table.
mm, that sounds, yeah, that sounds about right. Um, playlist or podcast?
Playlists.
Playlist.
Too many people have podcasts that shouldn't have podcasts.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, okay. Text or call?
Text.
Text. Do you like talking on the phone?
No.
No, neither do I. Neither do I. It's so weird. I don't know. Talking.
I would rather either talk in person or text.
Yeah,
That's it.
same. Lunch or dinner?
Dinner. I regularly skip lunch.
Hmm. Wow. Do you eat boiled eggs?
I
Oh, do you
do.
eat eggs? Like, do you eat eggs in general?
Yeah.
Okay, eggs, boiled eggs or fried eggs?
Boiled.
Boiled.
Yeah.
Same. I love a good boiled egg. I don't know. It's something about a boiled egg that just hit
Boiled eggs hit the spot that, and it doesn't make sense why, but
yeah.
it's convenient, it's
Yeah.
filling, and it tastes good, and it's no explanation for it.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. No explanation for it.
Hmm.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Sunset. I
Yeah.
agree. Sunset. Do you like spicy food?
I love spicy food.
Okay, so sugar or spice?
Sugar.
Okay. So you go salt, sugar, then spice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was the end of this or that, how to get a millionaire. I want to speak into existence that like we all can, be on that path to be millionaires. So thank you so much for playing.
Of course.
So now we can get into the questions. So the first question is very simple, but it can be a little complex depending on your answer. So how are you?
I am good and I am tired. So, um, I go to school full time,
Mhm.
and I work three jobs.
Oh,
So,
oh my God. Wow. Wow.
so I'm tired, but I mean, I make it.
Yeah. 3 jobs. Two is normal, but I never heard nobody say three. Wow.
I live in California and inflation is ridiculous.
Hmm.
And so it costs a lot to to live on this coast.
Is the gas still like $6 a gallon over there?
Uh no, but it's five. Here, it only went down $1.
Yeah, that's like way up there from other places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
And
oh sorry, go ahead.
it's amazing because I live in farm country. So there's not a lot of like regular cars. So it should be cheaper than it is.
Hmm. Wow, interesting. So going back to you being a full-time student, how is it being back in school this time around compared to you getting your first bachelor's degree?
So this time around, I feel like I'm more prepared for school.
Hmm.
And also I've learned what my learning style is and what I need to work on as far as like academics. I'm great at writing, I'm great at creativity, but if you put me in a math class, um, I'm gonna hate every single thing about it. I'm not gonna understand it. So I've realized what I need help on. And I think also being older, I am more comfortable admitting I need help and going to get help and tutoring and all those things. But I also would say uh, financially it's different as well. Um, I understand how to budget and stretch my financial aid. Whereas when I was 20 and in school the first time and going at it by myself, I just spent my financial aid, whatever I had left. And I didn't know like what school programs I could get into that would help me. And so I paid for all my books and then whatever little money I had left, I just blew it. So I think this time around, I'm far more prepared and I understand how life and how school works now.
Nice. Could you explain your learning habits?
So my learning habits are one, I am terrible at absorbing anything in the morning.
Hmm.
Um, I just cannot absorb, which is odd because I do morning classes, but I cannot absorb anything in the morning because I'm so sleepy. I learn way better once it hits like late afternoon. And so I do my studying between 4 and 6, and then again between 10 and 12. So 10 and midnight. And that's when I absorb better. That's when I get my work done faster, and all of those things. However, I would say I am not one of those people that can watch a video and learn what's going on. I am a tactile learner, so I have to do it. And so even if it's a lecture, I have to write all my notes by hand for me to absorb the information.
Who holds you accountable for personal projects that you may have, or do you hold yourself to a high standard where you don't necessarily need someone to be like an accountability partner?
I would say I hold myself accountable.
Okay.
And the reason why is I believe in not telling people your business until you've done it.
Mm, yeah.
Um, because you never know what energy other people are putting out,
Mm,
and people could hope and wish that it doesn't come to fruition. But also, if I don't do it, I don't want people to be disappointed in me. But the way I grew up, my mom was kind of like, okay, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it anymore. So when I became an adult, I had to push myself to hold myself accountable because nobody else holds me accountable. Um, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So it's kind of, if I don't do it, I'll disappoint myself more than I'll disappoint anybody else. But a few things that I will tell people here and there, uh, my close friends hold me accountable. If I complain, they'll let me complain, but if I stop doing it, they'll check me on it. But other than that, it's mainly myself.
Nice. So with you not wanting to disappoint other people, not necessarily not wanting to disappoint other people, but having that feeling of they might be disappointed if you say something that you said you was going to do but end up not doing it. Have you done that before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what would you tell your younger self in that sense? I mean, maybe just to keep your mouth shut, like you kind of already answered it, but
Yeah.
would you say anything to motivate that person to do what you said you was going to do, or would you just say keep your mouth shut?
I think I would do something totally different. So what I would tell my younger self is it's okay if you disappoint other people.
Okay.
Um, I kind of live by the standard now that other people's opinions of me are
Mm-hmm.
not my business.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if somebody is disappointed in you, even if they tell you they're disappointed in you, that's on them. You know your reasons on why you didn't do it or why you couldn't do it.
Right.
And what's happened has happened and you just got to get over it. That's kind of what I would tell myself now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an amazing answer. That's an amazing answer. So I know that you studied abroad in Italy. How
Yes.
was that experience?
That experience is good and bad, I would say. And I think um one thing I'm happy about is I met, especially when we were in Belgium, I met a lot of other African American students studying abroad in Europe. And I think one thing that when you do your research and you watch YouTube videos, you don't really see a lot of our Black students abroad. So there's not very many people that can kind of tell you how things will be
Right.
for you
Right.
in those places. And I will say, um, I do have American privilege, and once people figured out I was American, people were a lot nicer to me.
Yeah.
Um, but because Italy has such a problem with illegal immigrants that
Mm,
are mostly West African,
mm,
they're not so nice to you when they don't know you're American. When
yeah.
they think you're African, they're kind of rude. Uh, and you have to kind of talk to people first, so you have to shake off a lot of things
Mm,
from the citizens there.
mm,
But and I was definitely not considered pretty by anybody.
mm,
So it was very different for me. But other than that, I had good experiences. I met a lot of nice Italian people. I met a lot of people from other places in Europe and America that were living in Italy, um, and kind of helped me maneuver around Rome and the city and find things and find my own community outside of my class and
mm.
outside of my school in my dorm.
Mm.
So, that was fun.
Nice. Would you do it again?
No,
No,
not in Italy.
not in
Uh,
Italy. Okay.
I would study abroad again, and I'm scheduled to study abroad again next year.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Can you say
but
it
not in Italy. Yeah, I'm scheduled to study abroad in Taiwan.
again? Wow. That should be cool.
Yay.
You'll be closer to like home, right?
I
Well,
I will be.
yeah,
I'll be close to my father,
yeah.
who is in Korea, and my brother's there. So, and it's only like a 2-hour flight. So
Oh,
I
that's
could
like
just go
right
home.
there. Yeah, it's like right there.
I could
Nice.
just go home for the weekend, and they can come visit me and send me things.
Yeah.
So,
That's
um,
so cool.
I'm much more excited for that one.
Mhm.
And I have friends and family that live in Taiwan, so um, I'll have more community. But yeah, I would study abroad again. I would study abroad again in Europe,
Mhm.
just not particularly in Rome. I would study in Italy, just not Rome.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of have the same experience in Paris because a lot of people, a lot of Parisians, especially like when you're outside of the touristy area. I lived in a touristy area, but sometimes you go explore different places.
Yes,
They
yes,
didn't necessarily like the African
Yes.
they didn't like Africans. I don't know why, but yeah. So when I told them I was American, like their whole perspective kind of changed, and
Changed. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I can relate to that portion of it.
Same.
Yeah. So now we can get into like the financial literacy slash money management questions. And so when you were abroad, did you budget your meals? Did you budget how much you was going to spend on like excursions or maybe shopping? Like tell me about how you managed your
So I did budget, and I budget for everything except excursions. So
Mhm.
I budgeted for class trips, and I budgeted for food. Um, for food, my goal was not to spend more than I would say like $100 American a week. And so I bought my groceries by the week because European refrigerators are tiny.
Mhm.
And there were six other people in my dorm,
Mhm.
so there was no space. There's
Mhm.
no space.
Mhm.
So but I will say my school provided meal tickets for certain restaurants around Rome. So those I could go and easily get a meal for lunch or dinner.
Mhm.
Um, so I did do that. So I stayed within budget. I usually only spent 50 to $80 a week
Oh, nice.
uh, on groceries. I mostly ate at home. If I did have to spend like a lot of time out of the house for
Mhm.
school, I would either use my meal ticket or I would take my lunch. Um, I think I spent the most money on food when we would have class trips going to other places in Italy, like Florence or Sicily, where we weren't grocery shopping. We were only eating out.
Yeah.
Um, I don't buy souvenirs, so I saved a lot of money on shopping. I brought all the clothes I would need because I was pretty sure I wasn't going to find clothes my size or
Mhm.
long enough for me. So I didn't buy any. I bought a shirt and a dress and a pair of shoes
Oh.
the entire 3 months I was there. So I didn't spend money on that. Excursions are the only thing I didn't budget for because I wanted to have the money to do things I wanted to do
Mhm.
um, without worrying about it, which I still stayed with in the budget I had for my entire trip.
Mhm.
Um, Other than going to Germany the last week before I left, I didn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
Um, so that was outside of a school trip, which was already paid for.
Yeah.
So for me, I kind of just stuck to what my school had planned.
Mhm.
And if it didn't involve someone I knew that would help me pay for things, like my Germany trip, I
Mhm.
went to go see my best friend that was living in Germany, so I didn't pay for accommodations at all. And I only paid for 2 meals. Um, I wouldn't have gone if I had to pay for a hotel or anything. So
Yeah.
I think um, for a lot of people also, I would say this because I've traveled before.
Mhm.
You don't have to get the best of everything so that you can like show it on Instagram. As long as like the hotel is clean and doesn't have bed bugs, stay there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's pretty. Most likely you're not going to be there for a long amount of time. You're going to go sightsee or whatever. Just do that.
Mhm.
So, um, and if your school or your program offers something and it's discounted or it's free, take it.
Do it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's what I'd have to say. Like, just do that.
Mhm. I think that's where most of my traveling came in too, from my school program, and then the Gilman when we went to Belgium, and
Yeah.
then yeah, my school program. But I went to two other. I went to Barcelona and Switzerland on my own, but at the same time, like I get what you're saying because
Yeah.
some like Switzerland is not cheap at all. Like Switzerland was a bit pricey. So if I could do that again, I would. I mean, I enjoyed my time, but I would probably go the route that you went because there was a lot of free things that I could have done outside
Yeah.
of, yeah, traveling. But okay, so In Belgium, I remember that you mentioned when you study abroad as a student, when you file your taxes, you can like write off some of the expenses that you made. Could you
Yes.
explain that a bit more?
So it you're studying abroad, so those are educational expenses.
Hmm.
So um I kept all the receipts for my groceries and my meals. Um and so those are educational expenses. So when I do my taxes, which I'm in the midst of doing them, um I will write those off as educational expenses along with um when you are a student, you will get a tax form from your school, and you're supposed to put that information in for your taxes as well, which also gives you an education credit.
Hmm.
And so I would say it is helpful if you have deductions that would be over the typical deductions. So for me, I do itemized deductions, so I go through each category
Hmm.
on my taxes, and then I calculate all my expenses through my receipts and all the documents I get from like school, financial aid, and other things, and I will put those in each category. So, not even just with study abroad, if you had to buy any school supplies, if you had to pay for your books out of pocket, those are all educational expenses that you can add um, in that section of deduction. So that's why I was like, well, when you do your taxes, if you save your receipts, you could write that off.
Nice. Thank you for that. Because a lot of I didn't even know that. Like I just thought we was just spending money just to spend money. And then we can get it like get that back.
No, no, definitely not. You can get it back. Um, you could write it off your taxes. It is very helpful, and I think that's one problem for my generation, your generation, and then especially the Black community. We're not really taught those things, so we don't know.
Right.
Most people just go with the regular standard deductions and don't know that you can write off your sales tax. So if you calculate all your sales tax for the fiscal year and you're doing itemized deductions, you write that off on your taxes. So those are all things that I had to learn, sadly, late in life.
Mhm.
But um, you know, if I meet people that are the youth like you and everybody else that we were studying with in Belgium, I try to tell people just so even if you're not at the point to do it now, you at least know for the future when you do get to the point where you have enough deductions to do itemized deductions.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
That is you're amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Of
Thank you.
course, of course.
So, do you feel like you were prepared specifically in financial literacy after graduating college the first time officially going into the real world? I know you just mentioned how you didn't know certain things and you're just now learning about certain things with filing taxes and stuff, but do you feel like you were
Mhm.
prepared the first time?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I did not know anything. Like, I feel like through high school and college, we should be able to get more classes that teach us basic financial literacy.
Right.
Um, I learned how to balance a checkbook in accounting class at 21.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know how to do that before. And it's not necessarily needed now since everything is digital, but it's still a helpful skill so you can figure out where your money is going.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about retirement plans at all. Um, I saw my coworkers signing up for retirement plans and asking me about it. I was like, I have no idea what that is. Um, so I felt like I was far behind in saving for retirement. Didn't know anything about life insurance, whole life insurance, which I feel like everybody should have life insurance, especially whole life insurance, because they don't tell you this, but you can borrow from your life insurance, um, and then pay it back, but it's not seen as a loan, so it doesn't mess up your credit.
Mm.
So, um, which would have been helpful for a lot of things because you can borrow from your whole life insurance for your down payment for your house,
Mm.
things like that. I didn't know that there were government programs to help you pay for your house, like your down payment and your closing costs. I didn't find that out until I was actively buying a house.
Mm.
So those things, it would have been great if I knew those in high school and college so that when I graduated, I would be prepared and be able to set up my life better. But those were things that I happened upon or friends knew, and they knew because their family already had generational wealth
Mm.
and things like that. So uh, I absolutely was not prepared for the real world after I graduated college the first time.
Mm. Wow. That I'm just you're giving so much great information. Just thank you. So what are some of the learning curves? You kind of already mentioned this, but if you want to add more, what are some of the learning curves that you had to navigate in financial decisions after graduation? So like I guess now too.
Even now, budgeting is a very difficult thing. And when I first graduated college, I was budgeting for a family of like six because my brothers and my mom and me were all living together. And I was taking care of most of the bills. So those are things I had to budget for. When I went back to school, I then only had to budget for one, buy for one, which is a people don't understand. It's a very big learning curve when you have a habit
Yeah.
of buying and budgeting for a group of people versus one person or two people, which one you will overbuy and you will overspend until you get the hang of it. Um, and you will waste you will waste a lot until you get the hang of it. And then vice versa. You will have a deficit where you go from doing it for one or two people to a group of people for whatever reason you have to. Um, as well as financially, it was a large learning curve for me to figure out how to rent out my house because I had to move closer to school. But figure out how to rent out my house. Also the things you can do to your house. People don't tell you that, oh, you want to renovate your house, you have to go to your local city office and get permits for most things, and those things cost. And then all these other issues that you would have never thought about because they don't show these things to you when you watch TV. Like when you watch a home renovation show and people are like, oh, I just bought this house, I'm doing this. Nobody tells you that like out of that $150,000 budget, $30,000 is going to be worth of permits and application fees. So that was a very hard thing to do and figure out, especially by myself. And I would say also probably credit cards. Credit cards are a blessing, but it is more of a curse than anything. I would say I do use my credit card more often than most people, the average person would. But that's just because um, an experience I had, like people stole my identity and ended up draining not only my account, they ended up draining my younger brother's account and my younger brother's trust fund because it's all connected to my social security number. Um, and so I started only using credit, and then just paying it off right away. Because and I took debit cards off of all of my accounts. So if I don't pay credit, I only pay cash.
Mm.
So just because I've had people like steal my identity, scan my like debit card and get all the information and use it online. So I will say that's something people don't tell you, and I think that's something more people should know. If your social security card or number is connected to things, especially financial banking accounts, they can get all of your money. And because I didn't catch it in time, I did not get all of it back, even though it was fraud. So you only have a certain amount of time to get that back. So I think that was kind of the hardest thing financially um, when I was going back to school and learning curve. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Somebody committing fraud on you. That just sounds like a nightmare, to be honest.
It very is. And to think that because I was my brother's conservator and trustee over his trust, so my social security number was connected to his bank account, they could drain his entire bank account was very eye-opening.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. So now we're going to get into like the mind over matter segment. And so tell me about a time where your heart changed the dynamic of a situation, because we don't only make decisions with our heads. So we don't only use logic, but we add a little bit of compassion to our final choice. So tell me a time where you implemented mind over matter.
Um, so I guess I do it a lot, and I do catch flack from not necessarily friends, but associates.
Mhm.
I am one of those people where if I am outside and somebody is asking me for money, if I have it, I'll give it. Um, Even if it's only a little bit. And a lot of people are like, you don't know what they're going to do with the money. They're probably not going to do anything good. And for me, I believe God isn't going to punish me for my charity
Mhm.
and what people do with my charity. And it's probably because how I grew up. I've been homeless several times as a child and as an adult. I've been without food several times as a child and as an adult. So I will prefer to give what little I have to somebody that has less than I do, um, even if I will have to struggle after I do it. And it's not always the smartest decision, but I do feel better after doing it. So I think that's probably my mind over matter kind of thing. I would much rather give to someone that doesn't have as much as I do, even if I'll have to struggle to make it back.
Yeah. I can speak to that. As far as the personality, your that speaks a lot to your character, to be able to help somebody else that is not in the same position as you, even if you do have to struggle. Like that speaks volume to your character, and that's just amazing. Like kudos to that.
Thank
And
you.
I believe that God will bless you for that. He sees your heart, he knows your heart. Like I believe that he will bless you for every good deed that you do to people, even when you don't have it. It's like giving your last, but still not being selfish. Like that, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so my final question is, what advice would you give another student or young adult who is afraid to take the first step in approaching life on a broader level?
There's two things actually. The first thing I would say, go ahead and do it. Um, if you fail, it's okay because at least you did it. If
Mhm.
you don't do it, you can't even say you tried. You can't get upset about where your life is, which direction it's going, what you have, what you don't have, if you never tried in the first place.
Mhm.
So just go there. Be your own bully and push yourself out on the train tracks and hope you can run across fast enough. That's kind of the first thing I have to say. And then the second thing is, even if you do not have anyone you know, or you don't have anyone around you that is in the position you want to get to, or that has done the things you want to do, be brave and go find somebody. Um, Go out and look. Everybody has, even if it's like a celebrity or whatever, everybody has at least one person they look up to. Um, in this day and age when the world is small and we can find everybody's email address or you could DM people, go do that. Just say, hey, I admire you. And I kind of want to get to the position you're in. How do I do that? Or, could you mentor me? Or could you at least tell me how you did it? Like, do that. And I have had to do that. A lot of the things I want to do in life, there are not people in that position or in that field around me. My mom was a teacher. My mom was a special ed teacher. The majority of my family works in special ed and medicine, including me. But that's not what I want to do in life. So I've had to go out and um, find people and connect with people, which is extremely hard because I have social anxiety. But you know what? I have, and the amount of times I've gotten shot down doesn't doesn't equate to the few times that people have been like, you know what, I appreciate that and I'll help you out with the things I can help you out with. That that is worth more than everything else. So um just go ahead and do it. And then if you don't see anyone that is in that position or doing what you want to do, go find somebody outside of your circle and contact them. Those are the two things I have to tell people.
Nice. Because I know, like, when you do put yourself out there, you get way more no's than you do yes. But when you do
Yes.
a yes, like the yes definitely overpowers the thousand no's that you just got. And
Yes.
it's worth it when you finally do get that yes. So I would say, like, don't even give up. Like, keep
Yes.
trying, keep pushing. Those no's will eventually be like, not right now. Honestly, like it's just a not right now
Right.
from that specific, aspect. But yeah, thank you so much for joining. I'm really
Of course.